Apple ended yesterday in the red as the Nasdaq had its worst day since the end of April. But prior to that, Apple shares had been up 11 of the previous 12 sessions. Our next guest just raised his price target to $256 a share from $230. Let's welcome Wamsi Mohan, Bank of America Securities Senior IT Hardware Analyst. Wamsi, great to have you with us. Part of this price target raise yesterday was the notion that people have old phones and that they're more likely to upgrade because of AI. And I'm wondering how much of it is just the fact that, you know, whatever it is, 39% or so have an Apple 11 or older, me included, and how much of it is people wanting to get the latest to get the AI features.
Yeah, good morning, Melissa. Thanks for having me on. Look, I just think that it's really interesting. Our survey work shows that after WWDC, the purchase intentions of buying an iPhone in 2024 went up meaningfully. What that tells you is that people were looking for a real reason to upgrade, and you got it through the fact that you now have generative AI coming to the iPhone, but not just that. You also have the cutoff of like upgrades, which is different from what other people have done, right? Like Samsung hasn't instituted this same kind of cutoff at an iPhone 15 Pro Max or at a Pro version. And so it's really giving impetus, not just for the typical cadence of upgrades where the install base is really aged, but also for the newer phone users beyond sort of just before the 15, the 14s and the 13s to actually upgrade a little bit more atypically. So there's a cyclical benefit and a component over here that we're picking up in our survey work, which I think is really interesting to drive upside to both 24 and 25 iPhones.
So do you think that people will choose, you know, if I'm at 11 right now, obviously I'm not really focused on the latest and greatest technologies because I'm willing to live with the phone that I have. But are you getting the sense that people are willing to trade to the highest level to get that AI upgrade? Because I think that changes the cadence, right, of how much revenue you actually build in because of this upgrade cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. The mix is going to be super important. Melissa, like the real interesting thing about the mix is that there is this misconception that the Pro and the Pro Max are only relevant in developed markets, and emerging markets. They tend to gravitate to the lower versions of the phones. Our conversations with the company and our own survey work shows that the Pro and Pro Max have been gaining share ever since 2021, right? So from COVID levels, when people were guessing that, oh, this is all because of stimulus checks, that mix is sustained to be very, very strong now. 3 years post that, right? So it shows that people want the feature functionality. And so the more you offer them at the higher end, the more you're going to get that mix shift continue to be a positive driver for Apple. We actually think that there is a possibility that Apple introduces an Ultra model going into next year, so at the iPhone 17, which would be even higher than the Pro Max level. And that could be, you know, when generative AI comes around, like the DRAM content becomes, really, really relevant. And so you could offer an Ultra model with increased DRAM content, which would be sort of the more powerful Gen AI phone that would be for Ultra Pro users, so to speak. So we actually see the mix not being an issue at all. We actually think it's going to be a positive tailwind for the company.